Did you know? While Shadow the Hedgehog was in development, Sega considered other spin-off titles based on Tails, Knuckles, and Dr. Eggman. The first rumors of a Sonic the Hedgehog spin-off arose in early 2005. Sega hosted an online poll asking which Sonic characters fans would like to see star in their own game. The 4 choices were Tails, Knuckles, Shadow, or Dr. Eggman. The poll also asked voters to pick their preferred subtitles for each of these characters' hypothetical games. Shadow's choices included Renegade Hedgehog, Rebel with a Cause, Chaos Unleashed, and Sonic's Nemesis. While the poll appeared before Shadow the Hedgehog was announced, it's unlikely that it had much of an impact on the game's direction. This is due to how close the poll was conducted before the game's reveal. Fans did impact the game in a significant way, however. A promotional event was held in Japan where Shadow performed as a wrestling announcer and awarded the winning wrestler a pack of 10 Sega games. Sonic creator Yuji Naka also attended the event and commented on some of the game's influences. Naka said, "We received letters from kids, and many of them had asked for Sonic to have a gun. We felt that it wasn't appropriate for Sonic to have a gun, but maybe it'd be okay with Shadow, and that's how we started on the game." Naka was also optimistic about Shadow's franchise potential. In an interview with GameSpy, he stated, "We've had ideas of doing a spin-off series, so perhaps that's what Shadow will lead to." Shadow the Hedgehog was heavily influenced by the proliferation of first and third-person shooters in the Western market. While the Japanese Sonic team was developing a more traditional Sonic title, Sega Studios USA was tasked with developing a game that would have a greater directional impact on the series. Shadow was chosen as the star of this new venture due to his popularity, being second only to Sonic. Another factor taken into consideration was Shadow's moral ambiguity. Shadow is neither definitively good nor evil, so by casting him as the main character, the team hoped players would form their own impression of him. The game's director, Takashi Iizuka, felt that the change in protagonist afforded the team an opportunity to introduce new elements that would feel out of place for Sonic. One such element was the inclusion of curse words such as damn. Contrary to popular belief, Shadow the Hedgehog is not the first Sonic game to include a curse word. That honor goes to Sonic Adventure 2, in which Knuckles' theme, Unknown From Me, contains the word damn. Although Shadow the Hedgehog is infamous for its swearing and violence, it was originally meant to be more graphic. The goal was to earn a teen rating from the ESRB, but coincidentally, the E10 Plus rating was introduced during the game's development. The team decided to aim for this new rating instead, resulting in some of the game's content being toned down. These revisions included changing the Black Arm's blood from red to green, editing scenes of gun soldiers' deaths out of the opening, cutting away from Maria's death before her limp body is shown, and censoring dialogue. There are even files in Shadow the Hedgehog's data that suggest Sonic was planned to be in the game's multiplayer mode. It appears that he was cut early in development, as all that exists are Junichi Kanemaru's voice lines for the Japanese dub. Sonic was most likely removed so that Sega's mascot wasn't seen handling firearms. Although the game was toned down in many ways, it still included a few troubling scenes when it released. One example has Shadow attempting to assassinate the president, and another scene has him detonate a bomb that destroys Central City. The timing of the game's release was poor, as the attempted assassination of President George W. Bush and the London 7/7 bombings happened earlier in the same year. Shadow the Hedgehog was the first game in the Sonic series to feature the voice cast from the television series Sonic X. Fans speculated that the cast was replaced due to the death of Dr. Eggman's original voice actor, Dean Bristow, in January 2005. This turned out to be incorrect. The current voice of Dr. Eggman, Mike Pollock, debunked this theory in an interview with Sonic Scene, confirming that the decision to replace the cast was made prior to Bristow's death. The Shadow who stars in Shadow the Hedgehog is the same character that appeared in Sonic Adventure 2. It's likely that many players missed this information, which is the resolution to a cliffhanger introduced in Sonic Heroes. The end of Team Dark's story in Sonic Heroes heavily implies that the Shadow in that game is a robot replica of the original created by Dr. Eggman. Shadow the Hedgehog further adds to the confusion, with many of the game's branching storylines presenting a completely different history for the character. However, if the fight against the game's final boss lasts for 8 minutes, Dr. Eggman will contact Shadow and confirm that he is indeed the original that appeared back in Sonic Adventure 2. According to him, Eggman rescued Shadow from his fall using a robot and went on to use him as the basis for his Shadow androids. Shadow the Hedgehog innovated the Sonic franchise by allowing players to drive vehicles and wield firearms. These features were met with uncertainty, with many fans considering them to be out of place in a Sonic game. Despite the controversy, Iizuka defended their inclusion, saying, "Shadow the Hedgehog is a unique, original character, separate from Sonic the Hedgehog. The reason I created Shadow the Hedgehog as a main character for this game is so I can give Shadow different abilities that Sonic wasn't able to do, and that includes using weapons or using vehicles and whatnot." To mirror the game's more mature tone, the team took inspiration from movies aimed at an older audience, including Underworld, Constantine, and Terminator. As well as inspirations, the game has many nods and references to pop culture. Upon completing the dark mission of the level The Ark, the cutscene that plays shows the Eclipse cannon destroying the White House in a reference to the 1996 movie Independence Day. Two of the game's bosses, Blue Falcon and Black Bull, share their names with vehicles from Nintendo's F-Zero series. They belong to protagonist Captain Falcon and antagonist Black Shadow, respectively. After completing the hero mission of Westopolis, Sonic exclaims, "Welcome to the next level." This was a slogan used in Sega advertisements throughout the 90s. Gun soldiers will sometimes mention the former head of Sonic Team, saying,
"Mr. Yuji Naka is all right."
The egg vacuum weapon is a reference to another Sega franchise, Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg. The game's antagonist, Black Doom, also seems to be a reference to another Sonic Team property. He bears an uncanny resemblance to Wise Man the Wicked, the antagonist of Nights into Dreams. Both characters take the form of a seemingly legless cloak with similar shoulder pads, neckwear, pendants, and 9 prominent horns on their heads. Both characters also have detachable eyes and were the creators of their respective games' protagonists. Did you know that Sonic Boom was announced for the Wii U without the game's developers even knowing about it? Or that there are unused audio files of multiple Sonic characters swearing in the game's data? For more facts on Sonic Boom, click the annotation on your screen. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you liked this video, give it a like and a share. Or if you'd like to see more of Shadow the Hedgehog and hear more of my voice, you can watch my video on the game by clicking this annotation here.